Good evening, Tree Country 1330 WTRE. Welcome to the Decatur County Courthouse, coming to you live with the 2024 primary election results. Joined tonight by Josh Marsh.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Emily, and welcome to the primary for 2024. Of course, it's been a big year for those that are running. It's especially been interesting locally, but of course, we've got everything from the president all the way down.
We do, don't we? It'll be an interesting night to see what happens.
It is, and in a couple kind of updates, I guess, this year, some of the technology that the clerk's office has been using has been upgraded, so hopefully we'll have results a little bit quicker this year as well. And we actually already have a little bit in for early voting.
We do. So a total of 909 early votes took place. And so those are in. So right now we're at a 5% voter turnout. What's your prediction of overall voter turnout?
So I've done a little bit of reconnaissance work dating all the way back to 2008. Of course, these are presidential years, so we want to look at those because that does drive some voter turnout. So we've had anywhere from 45% in 2008. And then last in 2020, we saw 27.3.
Oh, wow.
So we've seen it sort of ticking down, trending down over the last several years. Of course, 2020 was the giant entrance of COVID, so that may have had some effect on it. But also we had a very hotly contested presidential race, although maybe the primary wasn't quite as impactful in 2020. But that number is quite interesting to look at. So I think we'll see somewhere maybe in that 30% range.
I'm thinking mid 20s to 30. So we'll see.
And some scuttlebutt across the state is that voter turnout across the state of Indiana is expected to be pretty low this year. There doesn't seem to be a lot of excitement generated at different levels. Of course, we don't have that presidential race. Most congressional races are relatively quiet.
They have been. It's been surprising to see. Now, I will say, have you gotten the mailers in the mail?
I have for our local and for governor and those types of races have been flooding mailboxes along with some of the local state house races as well.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and go through what we've got thus far. Again, we're at 5.3%. So and this is only Decatur County. So when we're talking U.S. or we're talking state, it's only for the results of Decatur County. So we'll start off with president on the Republican ticket, and Donald Trump with 79% of our votes here in Decatur County to Nikki Haley's 20.9%.
United States Senate seat is open because Senator Mike Braun is running for governor. So that race is uncontested on the Republican ballot. Of course, we are going to talk about all of our races. There will be a lot of references to the Republican contested races because those are the ones I do believe there's a couple maybe down there in the more localized races that we'll get to. So the United States Senate is Jim Banks with 100%. But more interestingly, too, and of course, everyone's been following the governor's race, we continue to see Mike Braun, who is probably the favorite, leading with 41% of Decatur County's votes. Suzanne Crouch, which is probably the second highest or most likely person in the state, seems to be what some discussion statewide is, 20.25%, followed by Brad Chambers at 17, Eric Doden at 13, Curtis Hill at 5, and Jamie Rittenauer at less than 3. I actually think this was my now, it's early voting. It's only Decatur County. I kind of think that these are the numbers that I expected to see. Was this sort of 40? I kind of had 40-30, and then everybody else splitting up.
And that's kind of, I had those two there at the top, Mike Braun and Suzanne Crouch. So I'll be curious across the state to see where they fall. And they've both done some heavy campaigning, so it will be an interesting race as we go throughout the evening. As we go on down to U.S. Representative District 9, Aaron Houchin with 76% of the votes, and Hugh Doty with 23.3%.
State Senator Jean Lysing is uncontested in the primary, so she will secure this vote. Representative Lindsey Patterson is also unchallenged in the primary, and so that moves us to State Representative District 67 is between Jennifer Meltzer, who currently has 78% of the vote, and Ed Comstock, who has 22%. I believe State Representative Jenny Meltzer will be our first guest for election night coverage, as she is here, and I believe she is headed to another stop after this, so we'll get through the list, and then we'll talk to her.
All right, as we come on down, uncontested Circuit Court Judge 69 Circuit is Timothy Day, uncontested. County Auditor Christy Smiley, running uncontested. County Treasurer, uncontested, Diane Hoeing-Wenning. County Survey, also uncontested, and it's Andrew Scholee.
County Commissioner District 1 is one of the hottest races, probably.
This is a lot of discussion that we've had, yes.
And this and District 3 are probably that. And then, of course, we do have the council at large. We've seen a lot of conversation. There's been a lot of effort by all of the candidates. So we'll start with District 1. Incumbent is Tony Blodgett, having 21% of the vote, Melanie Nobby with 11% of the vote, and Brian Winning with 67% of the early vote.
All right, and then let's move down to County Commissioner District 3. This is also one that we're watching closely. So starting with Nick Asher at 16.39%, Dan Burkhart with 25.68%, Mark Kors 28.3%, and Gabriel Nobby with 29.5%. And I really think this is one of those races we're going to watch closely, precinct by precinct. I think is going to tell us a lot with this one.
Of course, we've been on vote centers for a couple of years now, so it is one of those things where we don't have it geographically based. We have it just Decatur County. Somebody in Decatur County voted this way, as you and I have talked about over the last couple of years. It makes our job a lot easier.
It does.
When we can sort of know what precincts are in, and when we have it broken down that way. It makes voting and participation in the electorate process much easier when it's vote centers. I've always been a champion of vote centers. I've talked about them for nearly 5 to 7 years. Well, it's probably been 10 years since it was rolled out at state convention a decade ago, and so hopefully that is something that I believe we're going to continue to see. That does make analysis of these types of races very challenging because we don't know where the people live that have voted. And sometimes when you have candidates that live in a geographical area, that has an impact. And sometimes when they don't live there, that has an impact.
And, we're used to, before going to the voting centers, and I agree with you that has been a tremendous bonus in that happening for turnout and for ease. However, we used to be, as it would come precinct by precinct, you could see a whole race completely flip as that came in. So that has made a huge difference. We'll see what happens with that race.
Decatur County Council at large. This is a top 3, take the top 3 type election. And maybe when we get later in the evening, we'll start doing them in order that they actually are currently. But right now, we're just going to go down the list. So Andrew Bruni with 11% of the vote, Janet Chadwell with 18% of the vote, Rob Duckworth with 10%, Ernie Gauk with 15%, Bill Metz with 22%, and Rick Nobby with 22%. So currently, it's Bill Metz and Rick Nobby in a virtual tie, followed by Janet Chadwell. Those would be the top 3 if it were done right now.
And everyone will say, it doesn't matter if I go vote. Well, in reality, when you're looking at these numbers, just right now, between Bill and Rick Nobby, it's 2 votes.
Yeah, and I think this is one that we're going to see that too. I think we'll be all the way down to the end when the last machine comes in. That will help drive that. We may see 1 or 2 pull away, but I think the race between that 3rd and 4th spot may be incredibly close as well. We'll have to see, and maybe the first 2 spots are close. It's really the difference between 3 and 4 that you're really the most interested in.
Exactly. Going on down, if you scroll on down, United States Senator, that's going to be our first Democratic contested race, and Valerie McCrae leading at 68%, and Mark Carmichael with 31%.
And then U.S. Representative District 9 on the Democrat ticket was Tim Peck with 66% and Liam Doris with 33%.
All right. State Senator District 42 is Ryan Retzner running uncontested. And I believe that wraps up our Democratic candidates. If we want to see if Jennifer Meltzer is ready to go on air with us.
I think she's going to make her way this way. Of course, Representative Meltzer is contested. She is our only state rep, as we may remember from our she's one of our state reps that we have been redistricted. So she's going to join us as well. Her and Alex Zimmerman are both the incumbents. Both of those do have opponents. We are currently only talking about the early vote totals that are in for Decatur County. And so Representative Meltzer is joining us. Currently, she holds a 78 to 22% lead over her challenger. Good evening, Representative Meltzer.
Good evening, Mayor.
Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. So one question we always like to ask is, how'd you spend your election day now that you're up for re-election for the first time?
I started my day in Scipio and then went to Hope, to Shelbyville, to Greensburg, and now here.
You've been around the state today.
At least around my district.
So, comparing it to when you ran last time, anything that you did different this time around or learned anything different?
So this time around, it's a little bit different because when I'm knocking on doors, I am having a very different conversation with people. I'm having a conversation about current issues, what they want me to change, assuming that I am successful today and in November come January. Whereas 2 years ago, it was a lot more of this is who I am and this is why I'm running and what I want to accomplish.
What's been one of the things, of course, you've been doing this for 2 years. I know you talk a lot about your legislative experience. What have you learned over the last 2 years that you're looking forward to? Should you be elected in the fall as well? Obviously, we have to be a little bit careful here in that we're talking about primaries. Sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. But what are you looking forward to, as you continue to march through this election cycle? And then, what does the future look like for Representative Meltzer this year?
I'm currently over the interim months working on some deregulation, trying to find places in our code where we either are contradictory, which we try not to be, but when the code stacked up is 5 feet tall, it happens. So I've been, as an attorney, just digging in and trying to find those so I can clean them up. And then in addition to that, I want to continue to work on mental health and addiction. We've made huge strides in 23 and 24 with 988, with the way that we deal with individuals for immediate detentions. There's been lots of good changes, but we're not completely there. So I'm looking forward to another budget session, hopefully funding 988 more, expanding our pilot counties so that we can have more counties that have individuals that when you call, someone actually is sent out to respond.
What are some goals that you have left, whether it be while you're still in or reelected? What are some goals that are yours that you want to accomplish?
I think it's some of the same goals that I started with, which is to make sure that when a constituent calls with a problem that I am responding quickly and that I am efficiently and effectively helping them to understand a solution to the problem that they've raised or explain the process through the state agency. So in some ways, a state representative has the ability to pick up the phone and have an answer from a state agency, but that doesn't mean I can get you the answer you want. I've enjoyed making sure that people are actually getting an answer, though, and hopefully then helping to figure out if there is a way that we can get that to an answer that is one that they want, or at least one that solves the problem at hand.
You made reference to talking about knocking on doors and having those conversations with the residents. What's a topic or a couple topics that you probably knew existed or are being reinforced or are surprising to you?
So one that I think we all know exists is property taxes. Everyone got their property tax bills while we were knocking on doors, and this happens each spring. As soon as those hit, they see the number, and most people aren't thrilled with the number. And so a lot of those conversations focus on some education, some explaining where property taxes go, that they go to the local government. And so even if the state has a surplus, a lot of our local governments don't. And so looking at the whole scheme of making sure that we're not overtaxing, but we're also using those funds in the best way possible.
All right, so as you wrap up Election Day, what's the rest of the evening look for you?
I am now vice chair of the Shelby County Republican Party. So during the day, I had a lot of text messages and making sure that all of our 10 polling locations were working efficiently and effectively and everyone was getting to vote. So I will go back to Shelby County and get results from our clerk and share those with our local elected officials.
Perfect. Any issues on the voting side in Shelby County today?
None, and I think we had some pretty good turnout too. So I think the rain hampered things for about an hour, as I believe it did here as well, but I think we had some good turnout and hopefully everyone was able to make their voice heard.
Do you have an expectation or a guess on what the voter turnout percentage will be?
I do not want to make that guess, Mayor, but thanks for asking.
No problem. Happy to.
We tried.
State Representative Jenny Meltzer, again, up for re-election against Ed Comstock, currently 78% to 22%. That's just the Decatur County number. Obviously has Shelby, Decatur, some of Bartholomew, and a piece of Jennings County as well. So she's watching a lot of different areas with us tonight. So we thank you for spending some time here on WTRE and in Decatur County and for being a great partner of our community as you continue to represent parts of Decatur County.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, it is a little after 6:15. We're going on 6:20, so polls have been closed. I don't believe any results are in yet. That would be a quick turnaround if so. But we have got Bill Metz in the back of the room. We'll try and get him up here slowly. There he comes.
So there you go. You've summoned him.
I've summoned him. Yes, he's on his way.
So again, we are just talking about those numbers that are early votes that are in. We had 909 early votes cast. A lot of those were in-person walk-ins to the multitude of days that early voting was happening at the Decatur County Annex or on the satellite sites. We have a current 5.5%. We'll see that number increase. My estimate is somewhere south of 30%, 25 to 30% voter turnout, probably. So we are now joined by Bill Metz, member of the Decatur County Council, up for re-election. That's the one we were talking about earlier where you take the top three. Bill, you currently are the lead candidate in that top three, so you have 22%. You're in a virtual tie with Rick Nobby, and then Janet Chadwell is at 18%. So our first question to you as well is, how'd you spend your election day?
I mowed grass and mowed roadsides.
Enjoyed the rain, right?
And voted.
All right.
Yep.
So this is you're running for re-election. Tell us what you feel like you've accomplished while on council and what there's still left to do, because you guys are responsible for a lot that people don't realize in the community.
Yeah, well, the jail was one big thing that I'm glad's behind us and needed to be done that a lot of other counties aren't taking care of, and I think they really need to. But I don't really know. I mean, what else I can...
There's been a lot come through.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a lot of, and there's still a lot of things out there, but
I know a big topic we had during our forum was the pool and all of that stuff. So something that is still out there to be dealt with.
yes, yeah. And I'm sure after the election, it'll change.
That's right.
Yeah, how this gets taken care of. But
Now, looking at council, kind of give us an idea. You guys are responsible for a lot of things. You help fund, not-for-profits, a lot of the fiscal responsibilities.
yep, we take care of all of our non-for-profits get paid for out of Riverboat, so it doesn't affect the taxpayers.
The more you gamble,
Yeah, there you go.
it comes back to the community.
There you go. The
Yeah.
gamblers pay for that. So.
That's right. So what do you, if reelected, what's the future for you on council?
Well, definitely get this pool thing, try to figure out. And it's kind of not us that has to figure it out. It's more the commissioners need to come up with some and then come to us, and hopefully we can help them figure out a way to fund it. But they've kind of thrown it on us, and I don't think it's really our part to do that.
There's a lot more teamwork yet to come on that.
It's a lot more teamwork, exactly.
So, Bill, we've also gone through the highway garage project now that that's wrapped up. The pool's obviously a big one on the horizon. Anything else out there? I know there's always a lot of discussion. Budget season's obviously coming this summer for both of us. What are you forecasting or seeing in that? Representative Meltzer talked about property taxes.
Well, everybody's complaining about property taxes, that's for sure. And we don't have anything, we don't control any of that. So, I don't really know. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, and I think there's always, there's a lot of discussion because it's between rates and assessments and then where things are going. And, of course, the state's obviously talking about property taxes a lot, as that does. It doesn't impact their finances. A lot of people talk about the state surplus and the state budgetary surplus. How does that affect local governments? It doesn't, unless they pass money back down, but they tend to carry a lot of strings with that. So when we talk about property taxes, that does directly affect local governments. The state's funded through sales tax and income tax. So if there's a real discussion to be had about state finances, it needs to be in that space. I know a lot of people get worked up about property taxes, yes, but we also understand that local government's the one that best serves the people that are local. So,
Yep.
and I know that comes across the council and the commissioners and my desk and our council desk as well, but it is definitely a big topic that's always brought up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we wish you the best of luck tonight. Are you sticking around the courthouse with us?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll
Yeah,
see what
I'll
happens, won't we?
Wait till the last precinct come in and
I think your race.
what?
I think your race is going to be one of those that we are going to have to watch down to that
At the
race.
end.
Maybe one or two does lead, but then that third and fourth spot is really the one that we have to be very attentive to. You mentioned the comment about voting today. We'll see what our voter turnout looks like, but you're only 2 spots. You're 2 votes ahead of Rick Nobby for first and second. I guess in theory that doesn't matter too much as you take the top 3 in the election or in the primary election, but it does encourage people to get out and vote.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think the turnout will be good locally.
We're very curious to see.
Yeah, I know, because I think with the council race and the commissioner races, and I've never ran when we've had this many candidates, but I think that'll help.
I think it will, and I think it's just I think the tightness of the different candidates. Everybody comes from a different location, but with different strengths, and I think that's going to
Exactly.
pull a lot of people out.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all right. Well, good luck. We'll see
Okay.
what happens. All
Okay.
right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. So we still don't have any updates yet to really repeat on, so maybe we could take a break for a few minutes.
Yeah,
and-
let's take a break. We'll head back to the station. BJ's going to take care of some business back there, and we'll check back in here from the courthouse with the 2024 primary results.
Good evening and welcome back. I'm Joshua Marsh along with Emily Versman for the 2024 primary election coverage from the Decatur County Courthouse. As we were talking about before we went on break about 10 minutes ago, we're still waiting on that first machine to come in. We do have some reports that some are in the building.
They're in the building, just not reported out yet.
Not uploaded yet. Of course, we do still have 20 precincts. We have 11 voting locations that are open today. So we'll see how those roll in. Of course, 909 on the early vote total. We are looking to see what our total voter turnout looks like. But some of the big races, of course, just locally, we've been talking about the governor's race. Current United States Senator Mike Braun leads that section. We just talked with Jenny Meltzer a little bit ago. She is leading Ed Comstock in the District 73 with a 78-22. State Representative Alex Zimmerman is leading in District 67, 71-29. But then we turn our attention more locally, and we are joined by Decatur County Commissioner District 1 candidate Brian Winning. He currently holds 67% of the early vote, followed by incumbent Tony Blodgett with 21.6%. Followed by Melanie Nobby with 11. Good evening, Brian, and thanks for joining us.
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Good. How was your day?
Probably a little less stressful than yours. I am on the ballot for precinct committeeman number 3.
There you go. I did see that.
Yeah, so I voted for myself. But
Way to go. Did
yes,
it.
thank you. So we ask, how did you spend your day, and what did today look like for you?
I spent my day in Westport. I started there at 6 a.m. and just spent the whole day there. Honestly, I don't have a lot of family or friends or people that I know in Westport, a few. But so I thought, that's a lot of voter turnout there. So I thought I'm going to stay there and just greet people and see if I can maybe win some people over. So, yeah.
So when you set out to run for commissioner, what was the purpose behind it? What made you want to run?
Well, most people know I work at the fire department, and I feel like that that is serving our community, and I've done that for a long time. And as I thought about retiring, or what can I do to stay in serving the public, because I do enjoy that. I do enjoy being around the public. That's the kind of person I am. I do enjoy that. So when I thought about it, I'm like, well, this is something that I can do and still serve Decatur County and still make a difference. And that was my first thought process. I thought, well, I would still be able to do that. I think that was a great way for me to serve.
And for those that don't know, you're planning to retire this year from the fire department.
Yes, December is December 15th actually is my last day. Yes.
All right.
What was so you were talking about spending the day in Westport. What kind of numbers did you see? What did you talk about, or who did you run into that maybe you hadn't talked to before, or topics that came up that surprised you?
Yeah, so, when I said I didn't know a lot of people in Westport, I thought, I want to get down here, and I think this is a good way to earn votes. And by golly, you run into a lot of people and I see familiar faces, and people are saying, Brian, I'm voting for you, and that was really, made me feel good, when I thought I wouldn't see a lot of people I knew. And started some conversations with people there that didn't know me, and that was nice to recognize me and then say, oh, yeah, okay. And that was very good. I felt good about that. And Brian Gatewood, the town manager, I think, is that his? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what his title is,
but anyway,
yeah.
He's the town board president, I think.
Okay, town board president. He came out and a couple times and talked with us as we were standing out there, and we'd ask him, Brian, what's the voter? What's it look like? And at 5:15, 5:30-ish, it was at 250, 260.
Okay.
Was where they were at, and he said, and man, people just were rolling in from that 4:30 to 6 o'clock time. It really was heavy voting. So I would assume they would hit 300. I think they would hit 300 at Westport voting turnout.
Now, this has been your first run in a political office?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought in my research.
Yeah.
So what have you learned in this process?
Don't do it again.
One
No. Joking.
and done.
Joking. But no, it's been interesting. What have I learned? I get, when you put your name in their hat, then you get a lot of phone calls. So I've got that, Mayor, all the time. Yep. Phone calls. Can you do this? Can you do that? Or what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And what I've learned is that there's a lot of education that needs to take place because county commissioner, can you fix a city street, or can you do this? Can you do that? So that's really not the county commissioner's responsibility. Or can you do this? So I really, as you're talking to people and they're asking you questions about issues or things that they have, it is interesting that they don't understand the responsibilities of what a commissioner does versus what a county council does. And those two are, they're integral together, but also they have different responsibilities. So learning that, and me just learning that as well, and what are my if I was elected, what are my responsibilities? And so I learned a lot there. Yeah, and I don't know. Believe me, there's a lot to learn.
What's one of the things, if you're elected this evening, of course, this is the primary, there's still the general process, but, what's something that you're going to be working on over the next several months if you're elected between now and November? One
is that getting up to speed. If I'm lucky enough this evening to get the primary, I want to be up to speed and learn. And so when January 1 rolls around, if I'm lucky enough to win the general election, because we still got a general election.
We still got another step.
Right. So, I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch, but that would be me trying to get up to speed. And then you want to hit the ground running, but there's so much to learn. I am not going to learn it all in that amount of time.
All right. What's the rest of the evening look like for you?
I think we're just going to hang out here and hope for the best, honestly.
All right.
Hope that things go well, and I appreciate you guys taking your time and doing this. This is a first for me. I've never even came, for other general elections or elections. I haven't not ever been here.
Oh, you've never been in the... Oh.
No, so this is new to me.
It's a light crowd. I think it'll get a little heavier, but some years it's been really full. So we'll see what happens.
Some years the commissioners forget to turn on the air conditioning for us.
That is true, and we just sweat.
Well, Penny's like, okay, should I bring a jacket in, or is it going to be hot or cold? And I'm like, I don't know what you're looking at. I really don't know.
So far, knock on wood, very comfortable in here, but we've had years that, not been so much.
Well, the more people you add, warmer it gets.
The warmer it gets. Yeah. Well, we wish you the best of luck tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Brian.
Good.
Thank you, Mayor.
So we do have an update that came in while we were talking with Commissioner District 1 candidate Brian Winning. So those are being updated on the website. Of course, the ones we're going to skip over a lot of the state stuff and sort of focus locally. We're going to be sure that we hit all of our candidates that walk in the room in the order that they walk in. So that's how we're going to decide who comes next. Up next will be Commissioner candidate District 1, Deanna Burkhart. So we'll talk to her here in just a minute or Oh, I'm sorry, District 3. Yes, I even got that wrote down on my notes correctly. District 3. So she's going to join us right after I sort of give a little update here. So Commissioner District 1, we were just talking with candidate Brian Winning, 70% of that current vote. Melanie Nobby with 10%, Tony Blodgett, the incumbent, with 18%. So again, this is 16 machines. That's how we do it now. We don't do it by the precinct because we went to vote totals or vote centers. So we have 62 machines that are out there, 16 of which are in. That moves us to 1,645 votes. That's how we're at. That's where we currently stand with that race.
Looking at County Commissioner District 3 with 17% of the votes, Nick Asher. 24% of the votes, Deanna Burkhart. 28% of the votes, Mark Kors, and 30% of the votes, Gabe Nobby. Again, this is a race that we've talked about, and it's going to be, I think, from the prediction of what we're seeing right now, what's coming in, a very tight race that we're going to watch throughout the evening.
One of the other races that's obviously got a lot of attention this year locally is the Decatur County Council at large seats. Again, that will be a top 3. So I'm going to try to do these in order of current votes in. Bill Metz in first place, Rick Nobby in second place, followed by Janet Chadwell in third. Ernie Gauk is a very close fourth. We've been talking about that vote. That vote's going to be very close between 3 and 4, whoever that may be. And then after Ernie would be Rob Duckworth, followed by Andrew Bruni. So those are the 6 candidates running for 3 spots. We will take the top 3 to the general election in the fall.
All right, we're joined now by County Commissioner District 3 candidate Deanna Burkhart. Good morning, good evening. You know, it's been a long day, right? Oh, Morgan. Yes, now you are.
Okay. It's been one long morning.
It has one long morning, but here we've made it to the evening. How have you spent your day today?
Well, I got up and voted in my home voting, even though we have vote centers. I felt like I need to go to my home voting center. So that was in Millhausen. So started in Millhausen and then just kind of drove around the county to different voting places and talked to folks there. I actually got to meet a lot of family members of my opponents, which was very good. We got to have a good chat and talked. And I told them that, I'm excited to see new people jump in and put their name in the hat because it's not an easy process. So went from Millhausen to Westport to Letts and then all around Greensburg. Just missed the thunderstorms and got a little bit of rest and changed and came here.
Timing is everything, right?
That's right. That's right.
So you currently are on council.
Yes.
And running for commissioner. So
Yes.
explain to me where that decision came from to make that move.
Okay. Was not an easy decision to make. I think being on council for the 5+ years that I've been gave me enough time and education and knowledge to understand kind of where we could make improvements in our community, and felt that this was a time that we needed to make a shift. And so that's why I decided to jump in.
All right.
So what's the, maybe on a very high level, I know that this is something, and we just talked with candidate Winning about this too, the difference between council and commissioner, and how do you think your skill sets can transition that, and what do you hope to bring?
I know you've already kind of talked a little bit about the council holds the purse strings. The commissioners are more of the caretakers of the county. And I think having that council knowledge blends very well with going into that commissioner role. But I also have a lot of background in property management, in engineering, working at different firms that would kind of take over as far as like taking care of our properties, understanding the bid process, understanding the building process. So when we get into those different stages, I think those skills from my past could blend with the skills that I have gained in council and be a very strong point for being a commissioner.
If you do make it out of primary and out of the general and are elected, what are some of your goals as commissioner?
Well, goal number one is, as I've said since I started making phone calls to constituents back in February, is to make sure that we have a conceptual plan of an inventory of what our properties are, what our needs are, where we're going, understanding what our needs are coming up, what our improvements might be, and actually planning for those, working towards getting grant money for those, working towards budgeting for those, so we're not at the last minute trying to make decisions that are a lot more costly and if we hadn't planned for them ahead of time, which we're seeing with the pool right now. And that was one of the things that really brought it to my attention. The other one would be better communication, both within our leadership and in the county as a whole.
All right.
We continue to get some results in as we go through. So what's the rest of the evening look like for you? And then we'll do an update and appreciate you spending time with us.
Probably just hanging out here. I'm also the vice chair of the Republican Party, so it's also kind of my duty to be here and supportive of all of the candidates. And so I'll be here and see how we end up.
All right. Thanks so much for being here, and
Thank
good
you.
luck tonight.
Thank you.
That's Commissioner Candidate District 3, Deanna Burkhart, spending some time with us. We do have a little bit of an update that came in before we talk with our next guest, which will be Commissioner District 3 candidate and current incumbent Mark Kors. So the update comes with 29 of 62 machines, so we're starting to approach that 50% mark. A couple highlights, of course, so we'll kind of run through all these from the top down. The presidential race on the Republican side, Donald Trump 82 to Nikki Haley's 18.
United States Senator running unopposed, that's Jim Banks. And then you go down to governor. So this is a race being watched across the state, obviously. So when we look right now, I think kind of predicted, but Mike Braun in the lead right now, followed by Suzanne Crouch, Brad Chambers, Eric Doden, Jamie Reitenauer, and Curtis Hill.
U.S. Representative District 9, Hugh Doherty with 21% and Aaron Houchin with 78%.
Jean Lysing running unopposed in State Senator District 42. Lindsey Patterson also running unopposed in State Representative District 55.
State Representative Alex Zimmerman has a challenger. He is currently holding 70 to 30%.
State Representative District 73, Jennifer Meltzer with 78% to Ed Comstock's 21.
Circuit Court Judge Tim Day is running unopposed. Christy Smiley's running unopposed for auditor. Diane Winning is running unopposed for treasurer. Andy Sholey unopposed for surveyor.
County Commissioner District 1 will go from top to bottom. Brian Winning with 68%, Tony Blodgett with 19%, and Melanie Nobby with 12%.
Decatur County Commissioner District 3 from current lead down. Gabe Nobby with 32%, Mark Kors with 27%, Deanna Burkhart with 24%, Nick Asher with 17%.
County Council member at large, we have 6 in this race. So once again, going from the top down, Bill Mentz, Rick Nobby, Ernie Gaug, Janet Chadwell, Andrew Bruni, and Rob Duckworth.
And then scrolling down to the Democrat side of the equation, the United States Senate race, Valerie McRae has 68% to Mark Carmichael's 31%.
Running unopposed on the governor's side of the Democratic ticket, Jennifer McCormick.
And then on District 9 congressional seat, Tim Peck with 62% to Lamb Doris with 38%.
All right, so that's the latest update. Again, that's 20 machines in out of 62. Voter turnout right now is at 13.8%, so I think we will at least hit that 20%. I'm hoping for a 25. That'd just make my day.
We are just a few machines short of halfway there. Of course, we don't know where the machines come from. We've talked about this being because of the vote centers. We don't have the precinct breakdown anymore live. They do eventually do that after the fact.
They do, yeah.
But we don't get that information ahead of time, so we sort of have to look at it on a countywide basis. Almost 14% voter turnout across halfway. And then we are looking at those localized races with lots of fanfare and interest. So we are now joined by current commissioner and commissioner candidate Mark Kors for District 3. Good evening, Commissioner Kors.
Evening.
Good evening. How'd you spend your day today?
I went to work first thing, stopped by Westport, visited a few people there, went over to Millhausen, visited, and collected signs starting at noon. So I've got 8 signs out in the county and left, and out of 250, so got a pretty good day.
So being in the commissioner role already, what are some of the things that you've accomplished that you were after as commissioner?
The new highway garage, pretty proud of that. Used TIF money, and that thing came in a little over $1 million under budget. I'm proud of that. And first couple of years I was commissioner, we the new jail, and we kept it under budget and on time. So proud of those 2 things.
All right.
We were talking earlier, there's always a lot of discussion about whether the commissioners, what does the council, what does other agencies of government do? What's something that you have been talking with people about that, maybe they didn't know, or that you feel like you've shared with them since you've been a commissioner for 2 terms now?
Well, we take care of the buildings, property, those sort of things. We don't do dog disputes, as many think we do. I get those calls occasionally. And the roads. Proud to say that Mark Moore and Todd Houck both, the 8 years that I've been here, got the $1 million CCMG grant each year, and this year they got the $1.5 million max. So pretty proud of that. A lot of counties don't reach the max ever, and some counties don't get any CCMG money. So real proud of that accomplishment.
Seeking re-election, what are some of your goals if you are re-elected that you'd like to continue or accomplish in the coming years?
To continue to put a little money away for the county, keep getting our roads in better shape. This year we're going to do 35 miles of chip and seal. I think we can get a few more miles for our buck, and probably do that again next year if the CCMG program's still around. I'm a road builder at heart. Been doing that since the early 90s, my day job. So I take a lot of pride in what we do out there. And we're one of the few counties that actually build bridges in-house. Most counties sub that out. So we've got a really good crew on the highway department, a lot of experience with bridge building and that. So
I will tell you, I was during the forum that we held. I didn't realize the cost to build a road. You were talking, I think you had the numbers broken down, but I don't know if it was per feet or I don't remember how that came out. But just the cost, I don't think a lot of people realize what goes into repairing or repaving these roads.
Yeah, to overlay, put an 1.5 inch overlay on a road today is about $88,000. Chip and seal is running about $20,000 a mile. So it's in having 860 miles. That's a lot of money. You got to spread it out.
All right. Well, what do you look forward to tonight? Are you hanging out here at the courthouse with us?
Oh yeah, stay till the end.
This is the place to be, right?
Yeah.
Every election, here we are. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. It is 6:55, and I think we're still sitting at 20 voting centers in, so not an update just yet.
We do. So we have 36
Okay.
now. So we have crossed the halfway mark. Not a lot has changed dramatically that I think I've scrolled through quick enough to make that assessment. We still see, again, we're really focused here on kind of the three big local races, the Decatur County Commissioner District. We see Brian winning with 68%, Tony Blodgett, the incumbent, with 19.6%, Melanie Nobby with 12%. The Commissioner District 3, we were just talking to current Commissioner District 3, Mark Kors. Gabe Nobby is leading that race with 32%, followed by Mark Kors at 27, followed by Deanna Burkhart at 22, followed by Nick Asher at 18.
All right, we've got County Commissioner District 1, Brian winning at 68%, Tony Blodgett at 19%, and Melanie Nobby at 12%.
And then we've got the council members at large. I'm going to try to do these in order. So Bill Metz is still leading that charge with 21.8. Rick Nobby at 21.3, followed by Janet Chadwell at followed by Ernie Gauk at 17.2, Janet Chadwell at 16.6, Andrew Bruni at 12.8, and then that would leave Rob Duckworth with 10.3. We are very interested in the third and fourth place of those. Right now, that's separated by 38 votes. So that is one of those that we'll continue to watch for quite a while.
And it's interesting from when we started with just the early voting to where we're at now with the not so much percentages, but when you look placement, Janet Chadwell has kind of bumped up there when initially coming in a little bit lower. So we'll see what happens there with that one.
We do know that we're starting to get more and more precincts in on the different areas that are coming in. 36 of 22 or 36 of 62 spots, and it's always important too. So maybe we take a short little break. Then I think our next guest will be County Commissioner District 1, current Commissioner Tony Blodgett, and also candidate.
We will. It is 6:57. We'll take a break to 7 o'clock. When we come back, there will be more live from the Decatur County Courthouse. Election results being brought to you by Levinstein's Abbey Carpet and Scripture Automotive tonight. We'll be back here in 3 minutes, and we'll be talking with Tony Blodgett.
It's going north of us.
Tree Country 1330 WTRE. Welcome back to the Decatur County Courthouse. It is the primary election night 2024. Mayor Joshua Marsh filling it. You're not filling in. You're just here with me.
This is pretty much a gig now.
It's a gig. That's
Yeah.
right.
And
No
the-
more. It's a.
The pay goes up every year.
It does.
Zero plus something.
Do you like
is
the
zero.
zeros? They just keep adding.
Yeah, we just keep adding them to them. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Decatur County Courthouse. This is the 2024 primary election coverage for Decatur County. We've been talking this evening. We have 36 of 62 vote machines that are in from across the county. We don't know exactly where they're at. We're at 16.25% voter turnout. Our goal is 25 locally here. That's what we're hoping for. Obviously, we talked earlier, 2008 for this exact same election cycle, we saw 45, and then in 2020 that was 27.3. So if we could get somewhere in that ballpark, that would be about statistical what we expect. So we've a little over halfway. We've been talking about local races. We've got Let's do these backwards, and then we'll end with our current guest. So the Decatur County Council at Large is currently, it's the top three. So that would be Bill Metz with 21.8% of the vote, Rick Nobby with 21.4% of the vote, Ernie Gauk, 17.2%, Janet Chadwell with 16.6%. Those are currently separated by 38 votes, so that would be the difference between third and fourth. Again, take the top three. Andrew Bruni with 12.8%, followed by Rob Duckworth at 10.3%.
That's a race that I say when you say your vote doesn't count, it counts.
Yeah, it's gonna be
These
really
are
close.
proven numbers, yes. County Commissioner District 3, going top to bottom, Gabriel Nobby at 32.2% right now, Mark Kors at 27.1%, Deanna Burkert at 22.3%, and Nick Asher at 18.34%.
And then that brings us to District 1, where we have current incumbent Tony Blodgett, who currently has 20% of the vote. Brian Winning has 68% of the vote, and Melanie Nobby has 12% of the vote. Good evening, Commissioner Blodgett. First of all, tell us how you spent your day.
Got up early, had a client meeting for my business, and then went out and started hitting polls and visiting with poll workers, and made my rounds until the storms hit. They were forecasted for most of the afternoon, so I went back to work. I got some stuff done there, and then finished the day at a couple of the polls, and then here.
So you came into Commissioner as you were appointed. So this is your first election that you have had to campaign. What have you learned during this?
It's actually my second.
It is, isn't
Yep.
it? Yes, I'm
So
sorry.
I ran for county council during
That's right.
during the COVID years. So
Yes.
we'll call it my 1.5 campaign.
I like
because
it.
the first one was COVID stricken, so wasn't super active or going through. But so it's an interesting process on how to try to get your message out and get your voice heard, and the process of doing that. Very busy with all the work that I've been doing and those things. So I didn't get to do a lot of phone calls or door to door, but we ran the best campaign that we could, and that's just the way it goes.
What's been something you've been doing a lot of listening sessions, you've been actively involved in sort of gathering information as you've served in this role for the last year and a half. What's something that surprised you, and what's something that you've learned even maybe more recently as the election cycle's been heating up?
The biggest things that's really surprised me is the cost for building roads and repairing and maintaining those, the amount of roads that we have and the bridges and stuff, and the amount of money that goes into that, and the process of where all those different monies come from and how that's spent. Those were the biggest quote unquote learning curves. So for me, making decisions on do we open this bridge or close this bridge, or how do we do those decisions, really comes down to what kind of money does it have and where's it go. So trying to understand and learn those processes has been really the biggest hurdle or job as far as county commissioner goes with those things.
As in this time frame that you've been commissioner, what's something that you were after that you accomplished, and what's still to come if you are reelected?
So one of the bigger things for me that I've been trying to accomplish is handling citizen complaints, especially in the blighted property programs. My first commissioner meeting, 3 days after being caucused, I met with a family who had been advocating for property cleanup for over 4 years. So that was right in my face, day one, still in the courthouse. And listening to these citizens' complaints, not allowing them to be lost in the shuffle, and making sure we follow up on them and get those through. So that's been a real big process for doing that and figuring out that's been a goal and will continue to be a goal on how to fix and deal with those property and then citizen complaints throughout the county.
All right. Well, as we wrap up your piece of it tonight, what's the rest of tonight look like? Going to hang out at the courthouse? You going out and about?
Nope, just out here for the night, see what the results are, and then head home and prepare for tomorrow.
All right. Thanks so much. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Again, that was Tony Blodgett, and he is running for Commissioner District 1. And I think we had an update come out.
We do. So we're approaching the end. We've got, to my notes, say we have 2 more guests that are in the room. We have council candidate Rick Nobby and state representative candidate Holly Payton, who are both here. So we'll talk with Rick Nobby next. After we sort of give a little bit of an update here. So we have 58 of the 62 machines that are reporting. So we are very closely approaching the end. 23.5% is where we're at. So let me look at the local races that we'll just run through those. It doesn't seem like anything at the state level has changed as far as governor and representatives and senators. So let's just skip right down to, we'll do these in the reverse order now. So we'll do District 1 for Commissioner first, where we have Brian Winning with 69.7% of the vote, Tony Blodgett with 19.1%, Melanie Nobby with 11.5%. So between the last update and this one, which is pretty significant, we went from 36 to 58 machines. Not a huge shift in the percentage changes there.
All right. And we go into District 3, going top to bottom again, no change there. Gabriel Nobby, Mark Kors, Deanna Burkhart, and then Nick Asher.
And then we switch down to the council at large for the Decatur County Council at large. In hierarchical order is Rick Nobby, who has taken the lead for the first time this evening as the high vote getter with 21.9%. Bill Metz follows closely with 21.8% vote. Again, this is a top 3, 5 vote difference currently in the top 2. So then third would be Ernie Gauk with 17.75, followed by Janet Chadwell at 16.33. I'm trying to do math while talking. I think that is 126 spots, or 126 vote difference. And then we have Andrew Bruni with 12.1 and Rob Duckworth with 10%. We are currently joined by council member at large candidate Rick Nobby, former commissioner. Good evening, Rick. What'd your day look like?
Good evening, Mayor. Started out the day in Clarksburg. It drove slowly through the fog this morning. It was pretty bad. I actually called Sandy at WTRE and told her to warn the voters. But met a lot of people at Clarksburg, and it's kind of my dad's old stomping grounds a little bit, so I'd like to start the day there. And then I had my daughter at the Knights of St. John. My wife Kay kind of circled between Christian church and other churches in local town, and my daughter-in-law Amanda and our grandson Caden were at New Point, and my grandson Wade was at the public library. And then I just kind of made loops around the county as the day went on.
You pulled everybody in for this one.
One of the cool things about this is there's a few negatives, but some of the cool stuff is just family involvement and community involvement, and it's just, you can make it fun.
Now, this is not your first run. You commissioner previously. Have you noticed a difference between your commissioner races and this race?
Well, my first commissioner race was in 2008, and I didn't know what to expect, and, we did all the parades and did all the stuff like that, This is really the first primary that I've been involved in, really. So it was different in that respect. Still the same anxiety a little bit, and then you kind of get over that. But yes, it was good, and I appreciate all my family support, all the community support that has been shown to me and my family over the course of this election cycle, and just can't say enough about Decatur County.
What was the decision when you went commissioner race? Was they're open as well, but to run for council? What was that decision?
I was fortunate to do 12 years as a commissioner, and I got to learn a lot with that role and got to meet a lot of great people, work with a lot of great people within the courthouse. And I worked closely with all the council members and, built relationships with them through the years. As we did the jail, with all that budget stuff and everything. And I just thought I'd like to get involved in a different arena part of it. I want to make sure that we can do everything we can to get the jail paid off early and be able to be good stewards of that. We kind of plan for that going forward, but that's really why. And I think I said it at the political forum that we have been blessed with all of the candidates are good candidates. I mean, we couldn't have really gone wrong with any of the candidates that would be selected. So the council space was available, and it kind of fit where I'm at in my life. So that's why I did it.
All right.
What's one thing that, over the last month when the campaign's really been heated up, early voting's happening, what's one or two of the topics that have been brought up to you that you're going to take an invested interest in that maybe wasn't on your radar before?
Yeah, I think we really ought to take a good hard look and see what we can do with the tax dollars that we're given, where we can maybe find some more value out of what we're already getting. I said in my commercial on WTRE that I want to provide the very best value that I can for the tax dollars that are entrusted to council. There's a lot of things that we really can't have impact on, right? But there are some that we can. So where we can, I want to look into that and try to develop that as we go along. Work with the budget closely and make sure that we're getting value for that. And then making sure that we get, as I said, the jail paid off and have an eye as well to growth and, mindful things like that, to where if we're going to spend $1 on growth, we get $1.50 back kind of thing. So.
All right. Well, looking forward to the rest of the evening. You going to hang here at the courthouse with us?
I am. We're going to hang around until we're done here tonight, and then Kay and I are going to take a road trip and go get some signs picked up. So, again, thanks for the time, and thanks you two for doing what you're doing with election coverage, and thanks Decatur County for all your support.
Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right. Again, that was Rick Nobby, running for County Commissioner, District 3.
The County Council at Large.
County Council at Large,
Yeah,
yes.
we don't
want to confuse everybody.
Tonight's election coverage from the Decatur County Courthouse brought to you by Scripture Auto and Levenstein's Abbey Carpet. We greatly appreciate their continued support of this. I know that they've done it just about every year, if not every year.
I think so, yeah.
Since I've been here, and so they continue to be great partners in helping bring this live coverage. So Levenstein's Abbey Carpet, Scripture Auto, always great partners with the WTRE crew. And next on our list will be Holly Payton, who is running for State Representative District 73. She is unopposed. And then we have council candidate Rob Duckworth following her. So as Holly makes her way over here to the microphone, there's a couple races on the Democrat side that are challenged. The United States Senate race that hasn't changed much. Valerie continues to lead with 65-35. And then a state representative, or U.S. Congress Representative District 9, Tim Peck continues to lead that, 65-35. But we are joined by District 73 candidate Holly Payton. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you.
Yeah, so how did you spend your day today?
Well, today I was out and about a little bit, and then I homeschool my son, so I was homeschooling today as well and kind of teaching him the importance of stepping up to the plate and doing your civic duty of running and voting and the whole thing.
So how has the experience been running? You're unopposed at this point, so we know that we'll see you in the general. But what have you been doing during this primary time to kind of get your name out there?
Just having events by myself and then partnering with other people as well, and just trying to talk to constituents and see what their issues are that they want brought to the table to be resolved.
What do you think when you're hearing from constituents, what maybe are those top couple of things that you're hearing repeatedly that if you make it out of the general that are going to be your hot topics?
Right. The biggest thing that I've heard is mental health. Indiana is in a mental health desert, and unfortunately, mental health does not discriminate. It's across the board, no matter what walk of life you're from. So implementing, getting better resources to everyone, better access. So mental health, and then our housing. We do have a housing desert in this area as well. So I've heard that too.
And so if elected, what are some of those goals for you? Those are what constituents are asking for. And of course you're going to address that, but your purpose in running, what are your goals if you are elected?
So my goals, first and foremost, is inclusivity. My son is autistic, so that is near and dear to my heart. So making sure that everyone, no matter what walk of life you're from, has access to the things they need, the resources they need. And then, of course, just working across the aisle. Again, I've said it before, I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're Democrat. We all need to work together, and we all just want to live a happy, healthy life. So that's kind of my goal, is just working across the aisle and getting the things done.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being here tonight with us. We wish you all the best as you come into general in the fall.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Again, that's Holly Payton. And I think I did hear that the finals have made their way in, and that's 62 machines coming in. So let's, I think, scroll on down to our heated races here in Decatur County.
So let's start with the Decatur County Commissioner District 1 race. So again, these are the nominees for the general election.
Yes, so they've only made it out of one step.
One step done. So
Yes.
the Republican nominee for the District 1 Commissioner's race will be Brian Winning with 70% of the vote. Tony Blodgett finished second as the incumbent with 18.8%, and then Melanie Nobby finished third with 11%.
County Commissioner District 3, Gabriel Nobby with 32.06%, Mark Kors with 26.52%, Deanna Burkert with 22.96%, and Nick Asher with 18.4%.
So those two are quite interesting. They're the two commissioners are up, 2 of 3. So we will see 2 of the 3 commissioners will be new in the 2025 year, depending on how the fall shifts. So you're going to see 2 new there. And then Decatur County Decatur County Council at Large. Again, this is a top 3 race. So Rick Nobby was first with 21.96, followed by Bill Metz's 21.42. That's a difference of less than about 50 votes. And then the third place and third council to hold that spot will be Ernie Gauk, who will be returning. He has 17.75. Janet Chadwell finished fourth with 16.22. That ended up being a little bit more of a spread than we had talked about earlier.
About 150 there.
That was a little bit further apart than maybe I expected. Andrew Bruni finished third with fifth with 12.5%, and Rob Duckworth finished 10.1%. So again, top 3. So your Republican candidates for council at large will be Rick Nobby, Bill Metz, Ernie Gauk.
All right, so those are our big races. We'll start getting some of those that have made it out of the primary. They're going to be moving on. We'll start getting those up here so that we can talk with them. When we look overall at Decatur County, our final percentage here, we made it, 25.23% for voter turnout. So we made it that far. Let's shoot for 30% in the fall.
Yeah, let's definitely do that. Of course, the presidential years do carry more weight. So we will work to line up some of our follow-up guest speakers, some of which we may already have heard from, but are advancing out of the primaries. But while we are lining those folks up, let's sort of run through the entire ballot, starting with the president at 80%, Nikki Haley, or 82 to Nikki Haley 17. I'm sorry, president candidates Donald Trump 82, Nikki Haley 17.
Republican United States Senator Jim Banks running unopposed. That takes us to governor. These numbers for governor, remember, are only for Decatur County. So in Decatur County, coming in at the top, Mike Braun with 42.7%. Coming in second, Suzanne Crouch at 19.1%. Third, Brad Chambers with 15.6%. Aaron Doden fourth. And Jamie Reitenauer at 4.05%, and Curtis Hill at 4%.
U.S. Representative District 9, Aaron Houchin with 78% compared to Hugh Doherty at 21.6%.
State Senator Jean Lysing running in District 42 unopposed. Lindsey Patterson running in State Representative District 55 unopposed.
State Representative District 67 current State Rep Alex Zimmerman with 67.5 compared to Chad 32.5. Again, these are just Decatur County numbers. They also have districts in other counties.
All right, and I'm sorry, where did you leave off? I got distracted.
State Representative District 73, Jenny Meltzer is at 78.5 to 21.5.
All right, we've got running unopposed Circuit Court Judge 69th Circuit, Timothy Day. County Auditor running unopposed, Christy Smiley. Diane Hoeing winning, running unopposed for County Treasurer. And County Surveyor Andrew Scholle running unopposed.
We'll hit those other races real quick. Brian Winning did secure the nomination for District 1 Commissioner. District 3 will be Gabe Nobby. And Decatur County Council at Large, again, the top 3 were in order: Rick Nobby, Bill Metz, Ernie Gauk.
All right. And then on the Democratic, let's see, we had one.
United States Senator is Mark Carmichael with 35%. Valerie McRae beats him with 65%. And then U.S. Representative District 9, Tim Peck with 65 to Liam Doris at 35.
All right. And I think we've got quite a few of our front runners, so we will just kind of make our way through here. We'll start with County Commissioner District 1, Brian Winning, taking that tonight, and he'll move on to the general election in the fall. Brian, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. So what do you look forward to as you do move into, we'll get you all, I know, we got you all tangled, right?
No, that's okay.
There we go. So what do you look forward to as you move into the fall?
Well, I guess the general election, first of all, as we said earlier, this is just primary.
This is just the primary.
So we got to get through the
One
general
step done,
election.
right?
Right. So looking forward to that.
All right. Anything that you want to change as you move in to running in the fall?
Change. Well, honestly, one of the things that I talked about was having a plan, having a more of a structured, get our priorities. What do we want to do moving forward, and having some kind of even if it's a capital improvement plan, a plan to move Decatur County forward. I think right now they're struggling. It feels to me, from what I see, is putting Band-Aids on things and just working through things as they come up, instead of even having goals and long-term plans. So that's something I want to try to implement, and getting the county council and the county commissioners to work together. I feel like there's a disconnect there, so I feel like that is a good way to get started, is to mend those things and try to work together, those two groups. And also I feel like working with the city to have a better relationship with city government, county government, and working together on goals and projects that need taken care of. Those are things that I think, those 3 things I feel like will go a long way.
All right. Well, congratulations. Go celebrate this evening. Take a
Thanks.
break before we start with the next round.
Appreciate it.
All right. We're going to go on over county council members at large. Again, that was the top 3. So we will start Bill Metz coming in between Bill and Rick, and they're standing side by side, so I can say this. But Rick with 2,097 votes, Bill with 2,046. So a little around 50 difference there. When people say a vote doesn't count, this obviously proves differently, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm thankful for everybody that come out and voted for me, and
we'll see what the future holds, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, congratulations. What's your big, as we move on out of this primary and move on into the fall, what's your biggest goal, do you think?
You mean as far as what council goals? Yeah. The pool's right up there, number one thing. We got to get with the commissioners and get that all figured out, how we're going to fund that, and because I'm all for putting the pool back in. So
it's just figuring out how to do it, right?
How to pay for it, exactly. All
right. Well, great job, and we congratulate you tonight. And go take a break with your family and just breathe for a minute, right?
Thank you.
All right, Rick Nobby, like I said, standing right next to Bill, coming in just about 50 votes over Bill today. Rick, you have made it out of the primary, obviously, so congratulations on that. What are we looking forward to as the future comes?
Yeah, just take a little break, but I want to talk to Bill and Ernie and the other council members, try to get a feel, not to be too presumptuous because it is the primary, but I feel like if I am fortunate enough to be elected in the general, I want to be up to speed on what's going on. So I'm going to start attending the council meetings and some of the other meetings that involve the council, just for education, so you can be more prepared if you get the nod.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, again, congratulations tonight. Go take that drive with Kay and get those signs picked up.
Thank you all.
All right. And then we've got, Ernie's running away from us.
He's supposed to be coming around. So
Ernie's coming around. All right. We've got Ernie Gauk. Have you seen Gabriel Nobby?
I have not.
Okay. So that's, if he's out and about, wants to stop by, we'd love to have him. Ernie.
Yes.
First time seeing you tonight. Congratulations on your
thank you. Appreciate
your nomination. Tell us how you spent your day.
Well, went to the Midtown Diner, had breakfast, and then played golf for a couple of hours, and then I started around the county, started picking up my signs and visiting the different precincts and so forth. So,
All right. You're currently on council. What do you look forward to as we move out of primary and things to come?
well, pretty much what we've done in the past, try and keep the budget in line and spend the taxpayers' dollars wisely as we can. There's a lot of projects coming up. They're going to need a lot of discussion and a lot of figuring out. So hopefully we all work together on that and get that done.
What's one of the biggest goals you have for yourself on council that you want to see accomplished?
Well, I guess getting everybody on the same page when we get on projects so we can start at the beginning and work together to reach an end rather than somebody over here, somebody there, and so forth, and really just work together with the commissioners and get things done.
All right. Well, congratulations once
Thank
again
you.
for making it out of the primary, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Up next will be Chris Ramey. He's the Decatur County Democratic Party chairman. And, of course, tonight's coverage, while he's making his way to the microphone, brought to you by Scripture Auto and Lemonstein's Abbey Carpet.
You do such a great job keeping me on track. My ADHD is just balanced by you.
We're going to get through this. See, we're going to 6:30 or 7:30. We're going to make it by 7:30. So we're joined by Chris Ramey, Decatur County Democratic Party chairman. Chris, not a lot of contested races under the Democratic side, but a couple. We just heard from Holly Payton, who's running for State Representative 73. What's the party looking forward to as it goes through the next few months as it works towards the general election in the fall?
So one of the things we're going to be doing is looking at individuals that have came forward and kind of spoke about running. We had a lot of people who were kind of waiting for results from the primary to make the final decision to run the general.
Anything that surprises you this evening in those couple contested races on the Democratic Party for Senate and, or not Senate, but House, or Congress, excuse me, and for District 9, of course, and then, of course, for the Senate?
Overall, no. I kind of expected kind of the results that we got. I'm excited at the results we got. I mean, I think we have some good people to run. And I'll be honest, I think both sides have good people running for that.
All right. Well, we wish the Democratic Party well as we move out of the primary and into the fall general election.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Once again, Chris Ramey with the Democratic Party.
Up next will be Nathan Harder, who's the chairman of the Republican Party. See how we did that?
We did good.
We stacked them up at the end. And so, of course, there's a lot of other contested Republican races we've been talking about this evening in a way that carries all the way from president all the way down to our local races. So Chairman Nate Harder, Decatur County prosecutor, but also Decatur County Republican Party chairman. Chairman Harder, any surprises this evening from the races, or how did you spend your day? Typically is how we start it, but why don't you just tell us what you think?
You know, the nice thing about not being a candidate is that my day can involve some sleeping in. So I got to sleep in long enough to take Quinn off to pre-K at the YMCA, and then did a quick spin around the Greensburg precincts just to see what turnout looked like. And then spent a lot of time watching that newborn at home and trying to help Rachel around the house a little bit. And really started tuning in as you guys started your broadcast and starting to bring the results in.
You had a great turnout as far as Republican candidates for this primary, and a lot of new names thrown in the hat.
Yeah, and you know what? It's always a rewarding thing as chairman to see that there are a lot of candidates that want to be part of the process. That's something that we do very well, and that this season was a particularly strong version of. So, Josh asked me what some of the surprises were, or maybe some of the things that were what I predicted. And, a lot of the races went pretty close to how we thought they might go. In particular, we knew that council race at large and that the Commissioner District 3 race, you look at those and you go, those are going to be close races. And they were. And I know they held sort of static throughout as you announced, but close results all the way through. So pretty consistent there. In that any of the four of those candidates probably could have stepped up to win on a given day. So a really nice day for the Republican Party to have those in. You know what may be more important, and I want to make sure I stress this, the election seems to have gone off without a hitch. The folks who run that, Patricia Luigi and Clerk Janet Templeton Howell, are to be commended for how smoothly things went today. I wasn't even made aware of any power outages or anything like that we've had in the past.
It's been pretty smooth, I think.
And now we can say that, right? Now we don't just have to knock on
final.
wood.
It's final.
So they'll get those certified for us in the next few days, and then we'll be able to shift our focus to the fall and seeing if we can support our Republican candidates. Can unite behind one another, and then try to bring Republican government to the people of Decatur County.
One big shift is going to be that 2 of the 3 commissioners are going to be new in 2025. You're a part of county government. I obviously work with county government a lot. How do you see that changing, or what do you think that looks like going forward over the next year and then, of course, over the next term?
Right. Well, it's always hard to predict exactly how personalities will mesh, but I have to say, listening to, for example, the forum that you guys put on, looking at their social media, I think a lot of the goals are pretty well aligned for the commissioners. So there's going to be a learning curve for the folks who are new. But I think that between them being smart, competent people, assuming they're able to get not just the nomination here, but the win in the fall, they're going to be able to step in, do the work, have their homework done, and be ready to hit the ground running. And I know that Jeremy Pazel is going to be right there to help shepherd them along with his couple years of experience. But it's very much a time of fresh faces and in the commissioner's offices, while at the same time what we saw tonight was that the people of Decatur County returned some of our favorite long-standing public servants to the county council. So there will be a healthy blend of new, fresh energy and ideas with some steady hands at the tiller.
One thing I also want to pick your brain on a little bit is, of course, the governor's race is a big one. We probably could see Mike Braun as he was the front runner sort of all along. We've got 42.7% of Decatur County supporting him, followed by Suzanne Crouch at 20, Brad Chambers at 15, Eric Doden at 15. So that brings in a lot of new names. What does that say to you as it relates to local involvement in statewide politics?
Well, for one thing, I would highlight that we had 5 of the 6 governor candidates come to Decatur County for our Lincoln Day dinner last year and make themselves heard to our voters. And so the fact that Decatur County can't just be ignored. It's a place that candidates have to come and be heard, and they were. They each picked up their own amount of the constituency. Like you were saying, there's this breakdown. No surprise, for example, that Eric Doden picked up 15% here when he has an incredibly talented young person like Ellie Acra working for his campaign and promoting him within Decatur County. It only makes sense that he would then develop a significant share of the electorate here as well. So I would say the future of the Republican Party in Indiana is strong. The future in Decatur County is bright, and there's a lot to celebrate.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for doing this, and as always, for giving me a few minutes to share my thoughts.
All right.
Take care.
Perfect. So before we wrap up, maybe we run through everything sort of one more time. Maybe just, again, focusing on the local level. We just went through the governor's race. Aaron Halchin, out of the Decatur County vote, again, is the Republican favorite at 78 to 21% on that, of course. And then Alex Zimmerman, State Rep, District 67, again, just Decatur County number 67. 32. Jenny Meltzer, 78 to 21 over Ed Comstock.
All right, and then let's go down to our contested races here in Decatur County. So County Commissioner District 1, congratulations to Brian Winning taking that lead today. Coming in second, Tony Blodgett with 18%, and then Melanie Nobby with 11%.
The other commissioner's race, District 3, again, another highly contested one. Congratulations to Gabe Nobby for being the Republican nominee. 32% of the vote. Mark Kors finished second with 26.5%. Deanna Burkhart finished third with 23%, and Nick Asher with 18.5%.
All right, and then County Council member at large, and that's what Nathan Harder was talking about. Rick Nobby, previously a commissioner here in Decatur County. He served for 12 years, taking that lead tonight with 21.96% of the votes. Bill Metz with 21.42%. Again, that was a 50 vote difference. Ernie Gauk with a 17.75%. That's your top 3.
For the weather.
Fourth, Janet Chadwell, Andrew Bruni coming in 5th, and Rob Duckworth coming in 6th.
I think we're being told by the table that we need to...
Oh, they're talking about the storms and the weather. So
yeah, okay.
They're coming. They want us to wrap it up, I think is what they're telling us.
I think that's going to work out well. We, again, appreciate the continued support of Scripture Auto, Levenstein's Abbey Carpet for supporting the continued election broadcast from the Decatur County Courthouse. Thanks to the election board, the cage workers, poll workers, the Decatur County Greensburg Shared IT Department. BJ back at the station, I believe.
She is.
Morgan's here running the board for us and the live, along with Kathy and Sandy. We greatly appreciate all their support to make you and I, Emily Versman and Joshua Marsh, look good and sound even better for the election night coverage from the Decatur County
You got
Courthouse.
it. Thank you, Josh, so much for joining me. I always enjoy it. We'll be back here in the fall for the general election. We'll see what comes of that as the election season now goes on. If you are out and about, please be safe. There's storms rolling in and we're rolling out. Time to go again. Once again, thank you really quick to Levinstein's Abbey Carpet and Scripture Automotive from the Decatur County Courthouse. I'm Emily Versman along with Josh Marv.